Hola, clase. So I'm just heading back into Blackboard as we always do. We're going into week 2 just to see what's happening for this week. And we are now, so for Monday, you had to do some of your mind tap. You had a gender and number of nouns. Make sure all of that got in. And then you had to do your discussion board on estereotipos. For Thursday, you're going to take your quiz. That's for today in MindTap, gender and number. Make sure you did that because that is a quiz grade. It will go into your Blackboard grades. And then also you had to do Exploraciones Léxicas 2. You're doing adjectives, which we just learned in class. Just some of those adjectives. We'll look at them a little bit before the end of today. And then you're just looking into Gramaticales 3, which I will be teaching you today. So if we look a little further now, we'll go into week 3 and we'll make that available to you now. So now week 3 is available. Let's click on that and see what's happening. So we are for Monday, this coming Monday, you want to do gramaticales 3. You're studying the verb ser. And also you're going to just start looking at the next grammar section. It's just a preview. And then you are taking a practice quiz in MindTap. I called it practice because we're just learning the verb ser. So if you do really well on it, we can transfer that grade over. It could be your option to count it or not count it, but use it as a practice. Definitely do it. Don't just because it will help you we have an exam coming up next week and it's actually Monday, not the 20th, but the next week, which would be the 27th. That's when your chapter 1 test is going to be due. So just do that so that you can get ready, and also just make sure that you know the verb ser is well as I teach it today too. We'll talk more on Tuesday what's due, but you do have a writing assignment coming up. Just a heads up, that's going to be due by Thursday next week, the 23rd. And if you watch the video that's here, it tells you exactly how to do that writing assignment. It's a step-by-step process. So watch the video, but you don't have to do it until next week. I'm just giving you a heads up in case you have sports or things that are going on that make it harder for you to do things on that day. And this is just a reminder to use your ebook in MindTap. So I'm in MindTap right now, and this is what you should see too. And you have this ebook, and that's just the equivalent. It shows you that it corresponds to these pages from the printed textbook. So if I ever say page 30, like for the essay, you can refer to those pages here. It's the same as the textbook. It's just the ebook. So I'm going into Capítulo 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to... So this is where our adjectives are. You can see that, but let's go back. So we're going to do a little reading today because you do need to be able to read in Spanish too. So what I will do is I will say the line, please repeat after me, use this as pronunciation practice and also comprehension. So as I speak, you speak. And there will be some questions at the end to answer. So just be ready for that and try to get the context of what's happening here. En Latinoamérica y en España, la educación es un derecho de los niños. If we look down here, we have derecho is a right. So es un derecho de los niños. So you can click on those words. And so it's a right of children. En estos países, la escuela primaria y la secundaria son obligatorias. So you can guess what that means. Primaria and secundaria is like your primary and your secondary school son obligatorias. En unos países, la preparatoria es también obligatoria. It's a rhyme. Preparatoria, obligatoria. Para satisfacer la demanda, so in order to satisfy the demand, muchas escuelas tienen 2 turnos. Unos niños asisten a la escuela por la mañana y otros niños asisten por la tarde. So we can guess here, asistir is to attend. We can see that here. En dos turnos, so there's two shifts, porque hay una demanda, which means a lot of students. So hay dos turnos. Some go en la mañana, por la mañana, in the morning, y otros por la tarde. Por lo general, los libros de texto son gratuitos. So gratuitos, free, your libros de texto. Pero las familias deben comprar otros útiles escolares. So, útiles, materiales para la escuela. También, en muchos casos, las familias necesitan comprar uniformes para los niños porque es común usarlos. So we're saying in many cases, las familias necesitan, they need to comprar uniformes. Comprar is to buy. So they buy the uniformes para los niños porque es común, porque it is common, común usarlos, to use them. So uniformes son muy comunes en muchos países latinoamericanos. So aquí we want to say cierto or falso, so you're going to type it in. En Latinoamérica, la escuela primaria es obligatoria. So you want to tell me cierto or falso. And that one would be cierto because it says en estos países la primaria es y secundaria son obligatorias. Número 2, todos los niños están en la escuela por la mañana. So they are at school por la mañana, in the morning. Todos, all. ¿Cierto or falso? We know that's falso because it says muchas escuelas tienen dos turnos, unos niños asisten a la escuela por la mañana. So for the next one, tell me if it's cierto or falso, but also give me a sentence within the text that proves that to me. So whatever sentence gives me that. Es necesario comprar los libros para la escuela. So you want to tell me cierto or falso and just give me the line. Just type in the line that tells me, that proves that. If it's falso. If it's verdad, you don't have to put anything, cierto. So it's actually falso because it says, por lo general, los libros de texto son gratuitos. So they are free. So where it says necesitan comprar, no es cierto. So you should have written that sentence for me. Muchos niños usan uniformes. So you want to tell me cierto or falso. And if it's falso, just tell me the line that proves that it's falso. But actually, this is cierto because it says también necesitan comprar uniformes. So here we have después de leer. You could just read that on your own. And this is igual. This is for us too. We have hidden expenses, technology fees, and all of these things that we have to pay. Okay, so at this point, I just want to jump back into Blackboard and just point out to you that for every module, for every chapter, we have at the beginning of that module. So for Capítulo 1, we started that in Module 1. You have a PowerPoint. So that PowerPoint gives you a lot of notes and practice. It's a good way to review for a test coming up or just what we've done so far. So I'm just going to open that PowerPoint. It's the last item in Module 1. And let's just go through it and just see what I'm talking about here. So we just have given appropriate response. So there were two students that were working together on their MindTap. I like that they were kind of sitting side by side or just they were doing it individually, but they were helping each other a little bit. So this would be a good way if you were working in groups to go through the slides to review for the test. So you have the tú and usted. Tú is usually used with friends. Usted is usually used with someone that you have just older or more respectful with. So just look through these notes. They're important. They help you to kind of put everything together. Here's your alfabeto here. You could do some spelling practice. This will all get you in good shape. We didn't talk a lot about the mapa, but here's the mapa de países hispanohablantes. Just some pictures here. Remember, these are just rules for adding S or ES if it's a consonant. Go through those, maybe ask each other those questions. Words about that are masculino or femenino. Don't forget snorkels for that. And then you have we were saying masculino, femenino. So you go through these. So remember, words like televisor is going to be masculino, but words like problema, if they end in ma or mas like that, then it's going to be masculino. So there's some exceptions to the rules, like they're not always feminine. You have uno a 20 here. And so you could do these activities. There's some activities embedded here. Definite articles, indefinite articles, un and una, those both mean a, and then unos, unas both mean some. There's 4 ways to say the, el, la, los, or las. Remember, I was really important. We talked about that. So go through that. Here's 21 through 101 like we did last night and in the last Ed puzzle. Here's some math problems. So 24 más, more than, más 40 son. So you would say 100 menos 52 son. 78 más. Más means plus or more. 19 son. And so you could do those. ¿Cuántos hay? And then ten cuidado con la pronunciación. And then many of the vocab words are cognates, like we talked about. They're just like English. Como son, we're talking about words to describe people here. So here is some examples. If we went around the room and we were trying to describe ourselves, pelirrojo or alto, these are some of your adjectives that you have to know for the chapter. And then we are going into the verb ser today. So for next class, we will be talking more about the adjetivos, and we're going to need to know them for the adjectives, the practices. So for right now, I'm just going to ask you a question. I'm going to say, ¿Cómo eres? ¿Cómo eres? That question, ¿Cómo eres? I'm just saying, what are you like? So make sure you know what that means. You can write it in your notes if you want. ¿Cómo eres? What are you like? So you want to say something like soy, and then you can give me 3 or 4 adjectives that describe yourself. So you want to look back at your adjectives like soy joven, soy rubio. Make sure if you're a male, you would say rubio or rubia. We don't have the non-binary terms yet in Spanish, but just for now. And then bonito or bonita. So use the adjectives that you learned in the chapter. Try to use ones that you don't normally use, that you didn't know before this class, so you're practicing them. Soy amable. You can use any adjective. And then I also want you to answer, ¿Cómo no eres? ¿Cómo no eres? What are you not like? So you're going to say no soy, and then you're going to give me 3 different things that you are not. So no soy. So you could say like no soy famoso, or if you're a woman, female, famosa. No soy perezoso if you're a guy, or perezosa if you're a girl. For pobre, if you don't see that A after the letter, it means that it's the same for male and female. So unless you see it, usually if it ends in an O, you're going to have a male and a female version. But if it ends in an E, like pobre or fácil or difícil, those are just one form for both male and female. So the last thing I will do today is we're just going to go back into the notes. And this is important for you to know. These are our pronouns. So what I'll do is I'll take some notes with you. You can also find these in the PowerPoint, but it would be good just to have them in your notebook too. So first of all, we want to get used to drawing this 6-pack, it's called. And what the 6-pack is it's basically what represents different people that we talk about in Spanish. So let's call it the six pack. We're going to draw it like that. And this is always how we set up a six pack. When we're talking about verbs, which means like saying to be, you say I am, you are, he is, we are, they are. That's called conjugating, which means that you take the verb ser or to be and you break it down into pronouns. So you're going to say like I am, I, you are, he is. That's called conjugating, because we wouldn't walk around saying I to be nice, right? We have to say I am nice. So we have to change to be and make it I am, you are. So we do the same thing in Spanish. So first, though, we need to know which pronouns go in each box. So this is always going to be your singular up here. And over here is going to be your plural. So the first pronoun always, and this is, we have first person, second person, and third person. So the first person singular is always going to be yo, I. So make sure you know that, I. Your second person singular is always going to be tú with the accent. Make sure, because otherwise it means your. And that's going to be you, informal. That's not usted, but you. Third person singular. So if you're saying I'm talking about him in third person, it would be he or she. So he is going to be L with an accent, because otherwise it means the. That's he. Ella is she. And we also have one more in there. It's usted, which is you formal. So we have L, ella, and usted. You formal is usted. And this will make more sense as we conjugate more. Then if we move over to the plural, if I have I plus somebody else, it becomes we, right? So it's like my friend and I, that's we. So think of it as the plural form. So we have nosotros or nosotras if it were all females. And that's we. If you have you plus somebody else, it's like you guys. This is only used in Spain, though. This is vosotros. And let's make sure we know that that's you guys, but it's only used in Spain. The last one we have, L, if it's he plus he, it would be they. So that's going to be ellos, the plural form of L, and that's they. And then we have ellas, which is the plural form of ella, that's they, but that's all females. There's no males in that group. For ellos, there's at least one male. It could be 500 females and one male, and it's still ellos. And then the last one is ustedes, and that goes in that last box. So you might need to make your box a little bit bigger. And that's you all or you guys, again, but that's all the other countries besides Spain. So let's say 20 other Spanish-speaking countries, because there's 21 total Spanish-speaking countries besides Spain. So these are our pronouns. You definitely have to memorize them and know where they are. So just review those as much as you can. So these are all the pronouns, the subject pronouns we call them. So when we're referring to subject pronouns, that's what we're referring to here. So also you want to know, though, if you have like the name Emilio, right? That's not yo or tú or él or ella or usted or nosotros or vosotros or ellos, ellas, ustedes. Which subject would it be? We have to think about Emilio is one male, so Emilio would be the same as él. Say that I had mis amigas, my friends. So in that case, we want to think about which subject pronoun would correlate with mis amigas. Would it be yo, tú, él, ella, or usted? Would it be nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, or ustedes? Since it's a group of people and it's females, mi amigas, it would be they, but female. So it should be ellas. So say that I had mi papá y yo. Mi papá y yo. So that's my father and I. So remember I told you before, if it's I plus somebody else, what does it become? If you go over, it becomes nosotros. So that would be the same as nosotros. And if I had tú y tu mamá, you and your mom, in that case, it's you and your mom, so it could be you guys. So I would say ustedes because I'm not from Spain, but some people would say vosotros if they're from Spain. So those are the pronouns. The last thing we need to work on today is the verb ser. And this is actually also in your PowerPoint, so check that out to help you. And this is just some subject pronoun notes, so check those out too. That will help you. Whoops, actually, no, this is not it. So let's actually just go back to my notes and talk about ser. So ser is the first verb that we're going to conjugate, but you've actually already used it. So ser is to be, S-E-R, to be. You've already used it when you say yo soy de Buffalo, or yo soy de Hamburg. And when you ask de donde eres, you were asking where are you from. So you answered yo soy de Amherst, or yo soy de Hamburg, or yo soy de Pennsylvania. So again, we want to draw our sex back, and we're going to label it on the top as ser to be. We always have a verb up there. So remember what I said before is you don't keep it into I to be, you to be, he to be, she to be. You have to break it down into I am, you are. So that's what we're doing. We're conjugating the verb. So we're taking the infinitive, which is the unconjugated verb, ser, and to be, and we're breaking it down into its subject pronouns. So remember our subject pronouns. So we don't really need to say yo, but we know that yo is in the first box. Yo soy. So yo soy is I am. But again, just by saying soy, in this case, it's I am. The yo is there, but it's not needed. Sometimes we use it for emphasis or to make sure people know who we're speaking about. Remember, the next one is tú, and we went over this a little earlier. That's you for informal, and that's tú eres. So that's you're saying you are, and that's informal. Then remember we have el. We do need the subject pronouns for the third person singular and plural because we could be talking about he. We could talking about Emilio. We could be talking about my dad. It could be talking about for ella. It could be she or my mom or my sister. It's so many possibilities of subjects that we have to say. For the other ones, it's just I and you. For this one, though, it's a little different. So we have to say él. We can't just say, we could, if we already started talking about él and he was mentioned a million times, then we don't necessarily have to, but in the beginning, we want to put him. So él, and then the verb is es, he is. That's how you say, él es alto, he is tall. And then ella, she, ella es, same thing. Ella es bonita, she is pretty. And then remember, we have one more, we might need a bigger box here, usted. And that's usted es. They're all es. That's why they're all in the same box. And that's you formal are. So if I said usted es muy simpática, you are very nice. So that's our formal. And then up here, we have nosotros. We don't need it though. Remember, it's only for third person that we need the subject pronoun, but we could put it in parentheses so we know it's there. Nosotros somos. Then we have vosotros, same thing. You don't need it. Vosotros sois. When you say sois, we already know that it's you guys. There's only one subject pronoun that can go with sois, same with somos, and same with eres and soy. And then down here, we are going to need our ellos, no parentheses, ellas, or ustedes. And that we're trying to say they are. So we're saying son. So ellos son, they are. Those are at least one female in there. Ellas son, they are, but all females. And then ustedes son, that's you guys are. So ustedes son. So those are our forms of ser. You definitely want to memorize them. Yo soy, tú eres, él es, nosotros somos, vosotros sois, ellos son. And we're going to be putting them in sentences. So you might see a sentence like this, nosotros, altos, and you want to basically put the form of the verb. So remember, for nosotros, we have somos. And then if I had yo blank de Buffalo, what would I put in that blank? That should be yo goes with soy. Yo soy de Buffalo. You're saying I am from Buffalo. What about tú? Tú blank americano. So you are American. So for that one, it's going to be eres because tú goes with eres. So you're just going to do a little bit of practice with this in MindTap and let me know if you have any questions. Muchas gracias. We will continue to work with these as we move forward. Adiós, estudiantes.